Good morning, Miss Santini. I'm fine, thanks. How are you today?
Doing well, thank you.
UCF or USF?
What do you mean?
You're on the spot. You have to pick one.
She's obviously going to pick you as that.
Oh, you got Miss Creamy there. It's not fair.
So I was going to go with UCF, but whatever.
She says UCF. Miss Hall agrees. Okay. All right. Miss Creamy, I did another tour with my son yesterday. We did UCF and USF for the second time. He's narrowed it down to those two. And my older daughter, Miss Creamy, you remember, she's already there. USF, and I'm really hoping for that just because it's an easier drive for me.
So I would agree. It's definitely a lot easier than going to Orlando.
Yeah.
The other kind of Orlando.
Yes, but UCF is a really nice school. It's a beautiful campus, and I think that's what he's going to choose. Of course, he won't tell me. All right, so
You have your other son at FSU still, right?
correct, but he's about to graduate, and so I don't know where he's going to be after that. But yeah, he's at FSU.
You're just going to take over the state judge.
Yeah, and I still have got one at home, 7th grade, North Naples Middle School. Go Wildcats! All right, we're getting some people here on the TV, but one person for in custody, and then we'll start. We are live streaming on YouTube, and we are on the record. So we have Miss Santini here on the telephone for the state. Miss Hall is present for the public defender's office, and Rich is at the Real Casada, who's in custody. So maybe we can address the other two first. Lisa Corial, 19 CT 1617. Looks like she's pro se. And she's got an order to appear for a violation of probation today, January 19th at 9 o'clock. And she's not here, just Miss Santini, FYI, there are no defendants here in the courtroom with us. So she's not here. She was noticed. Mr. Hendricks, do you know anything about this case, Lisa Corial?
I know it's where it's filed a notice to appear. The officer did. The conditions on the affidavit are still outstanding. No progress with those.
Can you tell me what the last mailing address is that you have for her? And I'm going to compare that to the order to appear that we have here in the court file for today. Okay, thank you. Oh, actually, let's see. Sorry, Mr. Hendricks, don't worry about that. I forgot on my way out, Andrea handed me a stack of paperwork. People call in and email at the last minute, and Lisa Corial is one of them. Miss Santini, so I do have an email from her from today's date at 8:34 to my JA Andrea, and I'll read it to you. Dear Judge Crown, I have a back and leg injury. Well, actually, I don't need to put all of her medical issues on the record. Give me a minute here. Bottom line is she is requesting a continuance. Miss Santini, what do you say about that? I'm a little slow today, everybody. I just realized we don't have a clerk. I wonder why that is. Let's see. Hi, Andrea. I am almost done with my first case when I realized I don't have a clerk. Do you have any idea why that might be? Have you heard from anybody? Yeah, this is arraignments. This is something we typically do in person, right? I don't think I even have a Zoom meeting scheduled. Okay. All right, I'll call them and see what's going on. Thank you. Okay, bye. All right. Well, sorry about this. I should have caught this earlier. Let me call the clerk. Hello, Stephanie. It's Rob Crown. How are you? I'm fine, thanks. I am in VOP arraignments for 9 o'clock, and I don't have a clerk.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it here.
Why don't you showcase? I'm on Smart Bench, and we have 3. Sure. Let me go back here. Okay, it is that they are 19 CT 1617. Yep. 19 CT 270. Last one is 19 CT 2114. Thank you. Bye. Okay. Miss Hall, it just dawned on me that we don't have a clerk. So I just called their office and they were under the impression that we did not have any set for 9 o'clock. I gave them these 3 case numbers. They confirmed they are set for today at 9 o'clock and our clerk is on her way. All right. I'm happy to take him first as soon as I get a clerk. So I'm not going anywhere, but we're going to be in recess just for a couple of minutes. Hopefully that's all it takes for the clerk to get down here. So we are in recess. first. Ricky Bobby. All right, we're here for an arraignment. We have Ms. Santini on the telephone for the state. Excuse me, Ms. Hall is present for the public defender's office. The first case is Yosli Real Casada, 19 CT 270. Sir, will you please raise your right hand to take an oath?
Señor, por favor, levante su mano derecha para prestar juramento.
Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Juro decir la verdad, toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad. Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down.
Muy bien, puede dar su mano.
All right, sir, you are here for an arraignment
Muy bien, señor, usted está aquí para una lectura de cargos
on a violation of probation.
por una violación a la libertad probatoria.
Do you have a lawyer?
¿Tiene un abogado?
Can you repeat that? Do you have a lawyer?
¿Puede repetir eso? ¿Tiene abogado? No.
All right, Miss Santini, is there an offer for him?
Señorita Santini, ¿es un caso para él?
It is revocation, 180 days jail, credit time served, and all costs.
Sir, the offer on the violation of probation is an adjudication of guilt and all costs.
Señor, la oferta por la violación de la libertad probatoria es dictamen de culpabilidad formal y todos los costos.
Your probation will be revoked with conditions outstanding,
Su libertad probatoria sería cancelada sin haber terminado las condiciones
and you would be sentenced to 180 days in jail with credit for all time served.
y usted sería sentenciado a 180 días de cárcel con crédito por todo el tiempo ya cumplido.
You can either accept that offer or not.
¿Se puede aceptar esa oferta o no?
You do not have to accept the offer if you do not want to.
Usted no tiene que aceptar la oferta si no lo quiere hacer.
Do you understand everything I've said?
¿Se ha entendido todo lo que yo le he dicho? Is there another offer somewhere around?
There's no other offer at this time.
Sorry.
There's no other offer at this time.
En este momento no hay ninguna otra oferta.
Would you like a public defender to help you?
¿Le gustaría que un abogado de oficio le ayude? Por favor. Please.
All right, so what you need to do is enter a plea of not guilty today.
Lo que usted tiene que hacer es emitir una declaración de no culpable hoy.
And then we will give you another court date.
Entonces le daríamos otra cita en el tribunal.
And then I would ask someone over in the jail to give you an application for a public defender.
Entonces yo le pediría a alguien en la cárcel que le entregue a usted una solicitud para el abogado de oficio.
Is that what you want to do?
¿Eso es lo que usted quiere hacer? Yes.
Miss Santini, anything from the state?
Señorita Santini, ¿la fiscalía quiere decir algo?
Pardon me?
No, Your Honor.
No, su señoría.
All right, Madam Clerk, that is a denial for Mr. Rio Quesada.
Oye, señorita actuaria, eso es una negación del señor Riol Quesada.
And again, NJC, will someone please give him a PD application?
Y una vez más, NJC, por favor, alguien le puede entregar a él una solicitud para el PD.
Okay, thank you, sir. That's it for today. Good luck to you.
Muy bien, gracias, señor. Eso es todo por hoy. Buena suerte a usted.
Don't know. You tell me. For a hearing. Well, on the hearing docket set for status. Hold on a second. Hold on, we got a lot going on. Yes, and the date again, please. February 9th, 10 o'clock for a status. And next, Ms. Santini, we have an email, remember, from Lisa Corial, case number 19 CT 1617, requesting a continuance. All right, so Lisa Corial is continued to another VOP arraignment docket at 9 o'clock. Madam Clerk, do you have that date? February 2/23 at 9 o'clock. And the last case on our 9 o'clock docket is Rafael Santos, 19 CT 2114. And he is coming forward. Good morning, Mr. Santos. Do you have a lawyer?
Yeah, I didn't get a hold of him for this.
So you don't have a lawyer?
No,
Okay, well, when you say things like not with me right now, does that mean you think?
I don't have an attorney, but I didn't call him for this
Okay, let me finish my question though, because if it's just this case, if you have an attorney, your attorney needs to be here. You can't just waive his or her appearance. I can't talk to you if you have a lawyer. So did you have a lawyer on the underlying charge of DUI?
Yes, I had an attorney before all this, yes.
On the DUI?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just because you had an attorney on the DUI does not necessarily mean they also represent you on the violation. So have you actually hired a lawyer for the VOP?
No, sir.
Okay, so you do not have a lawyer. This is an arraignment on a violation of probation. And in just a minute, I'm going to ask the prosecutor for the offer. And then you have to make a decision. You can either accept that offer or not. You certainly don't have to if you don't want to. If you choose not to accept the offer, then we'll give you another court date for a hearing. You understand all of that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Santini, what's the offer, please, for Mr. Santos?
Your Honor, we'd like to give the defendant time to pay his fine.
So the only thing outstanding is a monetary obligation. What they just suggested is that we enter a denial for you today, give you another court date to give you time to make some of these payments. Because if you make the payments, the offer will improve. Ms. Santini, is that what you're suggesting?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Santos, do you agree to that?
I accept that.
Okay, so we will enter a denial today. That's the equivalent of a not guilty plea. We will give you another court date, but it won't be for a hearing. It'll just be for a status to determine how much progress you've made, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, Madam Clerk, that's a denial for Mr. Santos and his next court date, please, on it. It's for, they're all for VOPs, so it'll be on a VOP docket at 10 o'clock for status.
I'm going to try to pay it off by January 29th.
That'd be great, because I think your next court date will be after that, okay?
February 23rd.
All right, and you're writing that down, which is good, and we're also going to give you that in writing over here. She's going to print it up for you, okay?
I appreciate it, John.
All right, thank you, Mr. Santos. Have a good day.
Yes, I appreciate it.
All right, that completes our 9 o'clock docket. Let's see, Ms. Hall, is there anything you want to address early?
Yes, Your Honor. I have Christopher.
All right, give me a second here. First of all, Ms. Santini, can you go early on the 10 o'clock docket?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm ready.
Madam Clerk, how about you? All right. Christopher Ethier, 19MM 1455. It's 9:22. Mr. Ethier is present with his attorney, Ms. Hall. Ms. Hall, you say you're ready to go early. Ms. Santini, you're ready to go early as well. Mr. Ethier, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Ms. Hall.
We're going to be asking for one last continuance. I've been speaking with Ms. Green this morning, and I think we've come to an agreement for just one last continuance so that he can finish getting his community service time done.
All right, the request is for a continuance. Ms. Santini. All right, so the request is granted. Madam Clerk will set this on another 10 o'clock docket for a status. 2:23, 10 o'clock, sir. You'll get that in writing over here, and then you're free to go. Thank you. 2:23, 10 o'clock. All right, next, Madam Clerk, is Wanda Lohman, 17 CT 238. And I have a stipulated motion for a continuance signed by Ms. Creamy and Ms. Hall. So this will also be continued to 2:23 at 10 o'clock. And is that for a status? 2:23, 10 o'clock for status on Lohman. All right, Ms. Santini, Mr. Casassa is also here. Mr. Casassa, I know you're not set till 10 o'clock. Do you want to wait or go early?
Judge, we expected Mr. Forbes would be here, so let me wait.
Very good, thank you. We'll wait. Ms. Hall, do you have any other cases you can take early?
I can do Mr. Fuller, Thomas Fuller, 18 2376, and 1967.
All right, two cases with Mr. Fuller. Yes, ma'am.
We're going to be asking for another continuous status. We've been in talks trying to figure out an offer in this case. So I just needed to discuss that.
All right, with a waiver in both. And is he still in custody? All right, Ms. Santini, the request in both cases is a continuance. All right, Madam Clerk, we have two cases with Mr. Fuller. Each one is continued to 2:23, 10 o'clock for status. That's 18MM 2376 and 19 CT 717. All right. Any others early? Ms. Hall.
Christian Martinez Santiago, 19 CT 276.
Yes, ma'am.
I just recently got a global offer in this case that I need to relay over to him and also speak to his fellow attorneys. I just need to text that. So,
All right, the request is a continuance in Martinez Santiago, 19 CT 376. Any objection? All right, Martinez Santiago is continued to 2:23, 10 o'clock for a status.
the last one that I can do early is Terry Snyder, 1960-1510.
Yes, ma'am.
She wasn't able to come today because she's caring for her sick mother. But I spoke to her and I told her she needs to work on her outstanding conditions. So I'm just going to be asking her to
All right, the request is a continuance in the Snyder case, 19 CT 1510. Ms. Santini, any objection?
The state would ask for it to be set for a hearing for the next meeting.
All right, Mr. Hendricks.
I was just gonna, she's got no progress made, she wasn't here the last one. If I can remember, that was, just didn't show up, it was a granted continuance, but there was no issue with that present.
All right, so you're in agreement with the state's suggestion. All right, Madam Clerk, Snyder is continued to that same date, 2:23, 10 o'clock, but for a hearing. That's not a status, it is a hearing, and her appearance is required unless there's some reasonable basis for her absence. All right, and you say that's as far as you can go early. All right, so it's 9:27. Is there anything further that we can do before we recess pending our 10 o'clock docket? Ms. Santini, I think you do have a witness here in the courtroom for one of these cases. But that's between you and your witness. I just wanted you to be aware of that, okay?
Which courtroom are you in, Your Honor?
1B. All right, we're in recess until 10 o'clock. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. Maybe after he chooses, I will. Yeah.
It goes back and forth with there's
Good morning, Miss Santini. We are back in session. We're live streaming on YouTube. We're also on the record. We have Miss Hall here for the Public Defender's Office. Miss Santini is here on the telephone for the state, and we're on our 10 o'clock docket. I did receive an email. I'm going to call Mrs. Human. She's appearing telephonically today. And her case is Conrad. Good morning, Mrs. Human. How are you today? Can you hear me?
I can. Did you hear me?
I can now, yes. And we have Miss Santini for the state on the telephone as well. Your case this morning is Abby Conrad, 19 CT 2345.
Yes, Your Honor. We've come to an agreement in this. Ms. Conrad is in Massachusetts, so we're going to be doing a plea with dementia. If I could just get a date for it to be read for the record.
All right, so Miss Santini, the request then is a continuance for an admission to a VOP. That court date would be 2/23 at 10 o'clock for the admission, and that can be via plea in absentia. Miss Santini, any objection to that?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, Madam Clerk, Conrad is continued to 2/23 at 10 o'clock.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mrs. Human. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye. All right, and Mr. Miller is here on France Charit, 18 CT 2440. Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Judge, I was waiting for Mr. Rennie. My understanding we had an agreement. However, it's listed on the docket that we need an interpreter, that there's no Creole interpreter here today. So how would you like to proceed? My client's here.
And you, if you had a translator, it would be an admission?
It would be an admission and a time served.
I believe I can call language line and try to get a Creole translator if you would like to do that.
I would like to do that, Judge. I have not, I told him the best I could his rights, but there is no Creole DOP form.
Okay, I can go over those with him once we get a translator. All right, Miss Santini, so are you ready to accept an admission in the Charit case?
Your Honor, we just want to confirm that his terms are completed with Mr. Hendricks.
Mr. Hendricks, what's the status with Mr. Charit, please?
Yeah, the final condition of probation that was outstanding was the counseling that Attorney Miller had just brought to me, so it is now complete, so that does complete all the conditions of probation.
All right, very good, thank you. He says, yes, everything is done.
Okay, great. Then we are in agreement with Mr. Miller.
And so what is the offer?
Revoke probation and time served.
It's an
And all costs.
adjudication, all costs, time served, probation revoked.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's see if we can get a translator on the phone.
We are
Welcome to Language Line Solutions. Please enter your 6-digit client ID. For Spanish, press 1. For other, press 2. Please speak the name of the desired language.
Haitian Creole.
I understood Haitian Creole. If this is correct, say yes or press 1. If please enter your access code followed by the pound sign. Please hold for an interpreter.
Sorry, you were gonna say if we get one?
where would you like my standing?
Yeah, you might have to come up with.
Language line solution. Charles, number 21506.
All right, good morning and thank you. All right.
He has not been sworn
Sir, will you raise your right hand?
Si vous avez des droits tout,
Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
est-ce que sermenté que vous avez la vérité, toute la vérité, ou rien que la vérité?
Yes or no? Speak louder.
Parlez plus fort.
Hello?
Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Est-ce que sermenté que tout son pratique c'est la vérité, ou rien que la vérité?
Yes.
Okay, you can put your hand down.
Vous pouvez mettre les mains.
Sir, you're here on a violation of probation.
Monsieur Roland pour une violation de probation.
The offer is an adjudication of guilt and all costs.
Donc, c'est offre c'est pour vous adjudiquer toute culpabilité à tout prix.
Your probation will be revoked
Vous pouvez révoquer probation là.
and time served,
Et sans qu'on serve déjà.
which means no additional jail time.
Ça veut dire qu'on va passer plus dans la prison.
Do you understand that offer?
Est-ce que vous comprenez l'offre là?
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
Donc, j'ai aucune question.
No.
Do you want to accept that offer?
Est-ce que vous voulez accepter l'offre là?
Yeah.
Do you admit that you were placed on probation here in Collier County?
Est-ce que vous admettez que vous êtes mis en probation ici dans Collier County?
Yes.
Do you admit that you violated the terms and conditions of your probation?
Est-ce que vous admettez que vous avez violé les termes et conditions de probation?
Do you understand that you do not have to accept the offer today?
Est-ce que vous comprenez que vous ne pouvez pas obliger à accepter l'offre aujourd'hui?
We could have a hearing.
Nous allons faire une audition.
At that hearing, your attorney, Mr. Miller, would be present with you.
Et pendant l'audition, avocat M. Miller a présent avec vous.
The prosecutor would have the burden of proving that you violated your probation.
Et le procureur a la responsabilité de prouver que vous avez violé la probation.
Do you understand all of that?
Est-ce que vous comprenez tout ça?
Do you understand we will not have a hearing if you accept the offer today?
Est-ce que vous comprenez que nous pas une audition si vous acceptez l'offre aujourd'hui?
Yeah.
Do you understand that your admission will be used against you in a deportation proceeding if you are not a United States citizen?
Est-ce que vous comprenez que le fait que vous admettez ça, vous doit servir avec pour déporter ou si vous pas un citoyen américain?
Are you under the influence of drugs, alcohol, or medication?
Est-ce que vous avez influence de drogue, boisson alcoolique ou des médicaments?
Do you have alcohol in your system right now?
Est-ce que vous sommes mixés pour ou bien alcool dans le système?
Do you have any drugs in your system right now?
Est-ce que vous prenez drogue ou bien drogue dans le système?
Could you hear his response?
Non, des interpellations.
I'm going to repeat the question, but first, sir, can you speak up so the translator can hear your answers?
Monsieur, est-ce que vous parlez pour que l'interprète va capter des réponses?
Do you have any drugs in your system right now?
Est-ce que vous avez drogue dans le système ou bien?
He can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm not just
Yes, I heard what you said.
Okay, so do you have any drugs in your system right now? Are you under the influence of any drugs?
Est-ce que vous avez drogue dans le système ou bien? Est-ce que vous avez influence pour
Le système, ouais?
my system?
In your body.
D'accord.
Okay, he said no and he shook his head. Mr. Miller, do you agree to that?
I do, Your Honor.
Do you have any medication in your body right now?
Est-ce que c'est mon qui te prend médicament ou bien médicament encore?
All right, Mr. Miller, will you stipulate to venue and the factual basis contained in the discovery material?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Santini, anything further from you?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Sharit, I will accept your admission.
Mr. Sheriff, m'a accepté admission.
I find it freely, voluntarily, knowingly entered.
Et donc, moi, je trouvais que votre dit librement et volontairement
Upon a factual basis and in your best interest.
basé sur des faits et basé sur des faits et qui est basé sur l'intérieur.
Adjudication, judgment, and sentence as I previously stated.
Donc, adjudication, jugement et sentencement, c'est j'absous.
Thank you, Mr. Sharit, and good luck to you.
Before we go, maybe we should just ask what those costs are, so Mr. Street can pay.
Madam Clerk, the total cost, please. That's $50, right? $50 is the total cost. 90 days to pay.
Moi, c'est
Sir, the total cost for you is $50 and you have 90 days to pay.
le coût total là pour monsieur, c'est $50 et 90 jours.
Mr. Miller, anything else?
No, Judge, thank you for that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Miller. Thank you, Mr. Sharit, and thank you to our translator.
You'll have a seat. Have a seat.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye. Accepts.
Thank you, Judge, for getting that done.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Okay. Just saw Mr. Casassa. Okay, Ms. Hall, you've got 2 cases left on the docket. Either one first?
I'm still waiting on Mr. Kennedy, Your Honor, but we can address Flores Leonidas.
All right, Ms. Hall has Alberto Flores Leonidas, 12 CT 2509.
Your Honor, I just filed a motion to dismiss on this Friday.
Okay, I do see a motion to dismiss.
I don't know if the state is prepared to vote on that today, or if they would like to do it.
Ms. Santini, did you hear what she said?
Not really.
All right, she's filed a motion to dismiss. It was just filed on Friday. And she doesn't know if you've had a chance to review it or if you want to address it or just continue this.
We haven't had time to go over the motion, so if we can just continue it to whatever Your Honor wants to put on a motion date, or I don't know how you do that.
Okay, well, what we would do is continue this to another hearing docket for a status, and it would be incumbent upon the moving party, in this case, the public defender, to contact my office, speak with my JA, and schedule a hearing on a motion docket. Okay, so Flores Leonidas is continued to February 23rd, 10 o'clock for a status. And Ms. Hall, you said you're waiting on Finley.
Yes, Your Honor, I just spoke to him, he said he's on.
Your Honor,
Yes.
for that date, can we set it for a hearing instead of a status? Since we are set for a hearing today?
Sure. So on that last one, Madam Clerk, 223 is actually set for a hearing. 10 o'clock, yeah. Miguel Ortiz is present and coming forward. Mr. Ortiz is 19 CT 1972. Mr. Ortiz, you're here for a violation of probation. Ms. Santini, what's the offer, please?
Your Honor, I believe that we can confirm with county probation. It looks like his outstanding conditions have been completed.
Mr. Hendricks, is that true? Okay. So, Mr. Hendricks, are all of his conditions completed?
He has finished the community service hours as of November 3rd. The counseling is still outstanding. It will not be done on February 16th. That's the status right now.
So you had a very specific date there when you anticipate completion. Is that because he's enrolled and successfully participating so far?
Correct. Yeah, they have forwarded us information and updates to counseling.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Santini, the community service hours have been completed. He is currently enrolled in the counseling, and it looks like if he stays on track, he will be done on February the 16th.
Your Honor, we would just ask for this to continue for a status to give him time to complete that.
Mr. Ortiz, do you want more time to complete that counseling program?
I have 4 classes to go. It's every Tuesday, today, from 6:30 to 7:30 via Zoom. Today is gonna be the 12th. So I have 4 to go up until February the 16th.
All right, sir, your next court date is February 23rd, and you should be done by then. So come back on the 23rd, and if you're done, we'll tell you what the latest offer is on your case, okay? Okay, we'll see you then. Thank you, sir. 2:23, 10 o'clock for a status. Mario Arazo is present and coming forward with no lawyer. Mr. Arazo, good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Are you the one I've had a conversation with a few times about your lawyer who never shows up? What happened? Well, I do have some issues with his non-appearance. I am happy to see that you have applied for a public defender, and your public defender actually filed a notice of appearance about a week ago. Ms. Hall, you're currently representing Mr. Arazo. I'm looking at a notice of appearance here. Oh no, sorry, that was back on the 9th. Sorry, that was January of 2019. So it wasn't a week ago, it was a year and a week ago. So let's see, did you ever withdraw? I don't see an order. Let's see. Case number is 18 CT 2956. Okay, so I do see the notice of appearance from Piero Rodriguez. I'm going to try and call your lawyer right now, see if I can get him on the phone, okay? Hello, is Attorney Rodriguez there, please?
Yes, is it?
Is Piero Rodriguez, this is Judge Crown calling from Naples. I've got a client of yours in front of me. His name is Mario AROSE. He's here on a violation of probation. And Mr. AROSE has been in front of me probably 3 or 4 times without you. And I'm honestly starting to be a little bit frustrated. I'm not sure why you're not here. You've been noticed every time and you're not here and your client is. Why is that?
Your Honor, I had no idea there was a hearing today. I thought he had completed his probation last time we had a hearing.
He's had a pending VOP for months and he's been here every time. What's your mailing address?
The mailing address is my first name, Tiero, at aclegalgroup.com.
And your physical mailing address?
3940 West Flagler Street.
First floor in Miami, 33134.
Yes.
All right, that's the address that we use to send every notice. The last notice was mailed on December the 15th for today's date at 10 o'clock. And I believe that's the same address on every notice to appear. And every time your client shows up, I have to tell him, Mr. AROSE, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you because you have a lawyer who's not here. You should get in touch with your lawyer. And this is at least the 3rd time, if not the 4th time, that everybody's been in the courtroom except you. And I'm wondering why that is.
But Your Honor, most of the hearings that I've been doing are either telephonic or through Zoom, and I was not aware of the hearing.
Okay,
Schedule. I had no idea that I even had to be there in person.
I agree that a lot of hearings nowadays are telephonic or in Zoom. Did you have any reason to believe that in this case? You never received it.
Our previous hearings had been, Your Honor. Clearly, I'm in the wrong. I'm not trying to send myself here, except that it's not intentional in any way.
It's just,
I was not aware he had violated his probation last time we spoke. He had a couple hours to do, and I thought he was doing them.
So when you get a notice to appear, as you have in this case on several occasions, and you think it's a telephonic or on Zoom, but you're not sure, it seems to me that the thing to do would be to reach out to the JA and ask and figure it out. And had you done that, my JA would have told you that it is in person. And so here we are yet again for a VOP hearing. I've got a prosecutor here, Ms. Santini. I've got someone here from probation. I've got a clerk. I've got bailiffs. I've got other people who are here, including your client, Mr. AROSE. And this is set for a violation of probation hearing. Now, let me go to the prosecutor, Ms. Santini. What's the state's position in this case? Are you ready for a hearing?
No, Your Honor, this is set for a status, and I believe since the last time the counsel wasn't present and is needed to give an time to complete our progress.
All right, Mr. Hendricks, what can you tell me about the status of this case, please?
This is the 8th VOP court date.
8th?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay.
Defendant was not present at the last court dates. He was sick. Several other court dates. The defendant was here, but the attorney was not present, as you had mentioned. The last condition on his the affidavit filed for this VOP, the outstanding condition is substance abuse counseling. The defendant did speak to me before court today, saying that he has completed. I verified or contacted his probation officer, since they still have not received anything in writing, email, electronically, that says he is completed. But I think this is the last few times he's been in the same position with waiting for his counsel.
And is that the only remaining outstanding condition?
Yeah, from the affidavit filed, the only outstanding condition is counsel.
All right. All right, thank you. Mr. Rodriguez, do you know anything about the status of your client's outstanding condition?
Your Honor, last hearing that we had, and that I was there for telephonically, all he had left was substance abuse counseling, and I have not spoken to Mr. AROSE in some time, but he had let me know he had completed them and submitted the substance abuse counseling documents. So I figured he was finished.
Did he submit those documents to you, or was it your understanding that he was submitting those to his probation officer?
It the probation officer he had on file, he did not submit them to me because there is a large distance between us, and he would be better off submitting it to the probation officer when he completed the program.
Mr. Arazo, what's the status with your counseling?
The counseling had started all over again with some of my health problems, and I took some time off my work so I could be able to take care of those problems, especially my counseling. Yesterday was my second class, and I talked to my counselor, and I told him before we ended the session, if you can be able to send a referral to the probation or maybe send it to me through email, so I could be able to show them that actually this time I have to finish this. He said, what, I'll just send it to probation, and this should happen as soon as I send it to email or fax it. I'm like, all right, thank you. And I guess right now, when I'm trying to check in right now, after I went inside here, I was trying to make sure that they actually send a referral that I, my counselor, and I guess they didn't do it. And I don't understand why they're, slacking.
Do you have a schedule for counseling?
Yes, I do.
What's your
and
schedule?
Now I'm doing it differently. Now it's all too soon, so now there's no reason why I should not be able to not finish.
And when is it?
Yesterday it was at 4:30. Tomorrow's at 4:30, and Thursday from 4 to 4:45. I have a drug screen.
So it's Monday and Wednesday, and then Thursday is the drug screen.
They make up the schedule as soon as I'm done with the Zoom class, with the Zoom session. They tell me when is the next class.
All right.
And then my counselor told me that this time is a bit different. If I go every single day and I pass my drug test, that I should be able to finish early.
Mr. Hendricks, you don't have documentation about any of that?
No, Your Honor.
All right, and Ms. Santini, we're here for a status today. Is that your understanding?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Rodriguez, what's your request?
Well, my request is similar to what it's been before, Your Honor, which is I'm not sure why he would be penalized for not completing while he's doing this. Every time there's a status, I guess he's still going through the substance abuse counseling. I'm not sure how many weeks it is for him to finish, but I believe he should be allowed to finish his counseling because from what I know, when he's staying in court, he is going.
Okay, so that's your belief. What's your request?
My request is that there be another status hearing as much as that may seem wrong or my fault for not being there before, but I would request for him to be allowed to finish substance abuse counseling and have another status where he can provide that information. And if he were to send it to me, I'll send it to the court as soon as I receive that, or his probation officer. If I had those on me, I would never not send them for a quick email or a fax.
All right, so the request is for a continuance. Mr. Hendricks.
Well, in light of the information that just started counseling all over again, our request at this late date would be, our recommendations to the court would be that the defendant is guilty of violating his probation and revoke the probation with that condition outstanding.
Well, I can't make him do that, right? Of course, I can't make him enter an admission. The offer is an adjudication plus cost, revoke probation, conditions outstanding.
That would be our recommendations to the court to sustain.
All right, Mr. Rodriguez, that's the offer from probation. Ms. Santini, what's your position on this?
Your Honor, I couldn't really hear the defendant, but did he say the date that his substance abuse evaluation counseling would be completed?
Do you have a completion date?
They were supposed to know you all that. They did not tell me that.
Who's they? Who have you been talking to?
The counselor's called Matt, but I forgot his last name.
What company is he with, or what office is he?
Lorenzo Walker here off of Wood Gate.
You don't know the name of the place you're going?
The problem is that everything's all through Zoom, and then not really close to the place, so everything's all through computer.
Mr. Hendricks, it's pretty general. Do you have any idea who Matt?
Maybe wrong or something. Sorry, maybe wrong.
Wasn't it with Mauricio Ramirez first? Was it never with Mr. Ramirez? Your counsel?
Counseling? I think it's Matt something.
But it's a David Lawrence Center on.
Yeah, the person's over there in Golden Beach.
Yeah, we're well aware of David Lawrence Center. They send us stuff all the time.
Yes, they should have known the reason why they haven't sent nothing.
You have to sign a release form to us.
And he told me he was gonna send a referral. That's before you.
Okay.
I don't know why he didn't do it.
Okay. And Mr. Arazo, you keep saying that. You don't know why they didn't do it. And I think you even maybe used the word slacker. But you have to accept some responsibility for this. You're the one on probation. You're the one with the obligation to get these things done, and not only get them done, but get Mr. Hendricks proof that they're done. Or at the very least that you're enrolled and that you're taking classes. Right now, we have nothing to base that on other than your testimony. And honestly, that's kind of confusing. You don't know Matt's last name. You're not exactly sure where you're doing this, when you started or when you're done. And so that's not sufficient. You need to take some responsibility. The next time I see you, I want to know more details. I want to know specifics about when you've gone, how many times you've gone, how many classes you have left, who you're seeing. And a good thing to do would be to keep Mr. Rodriguez informed as well, because then he can articulate all of that to the court. So anything you get from them, you need to send to your attorney as well, okay? So your next court date is February 23rd at 10 o'clock. That's a status. Mr. Rodriguez, if you want to appear telephonically, don't assume that will happen. You need to contact my office and let Andrea know that, okay?
Your Honor,
I'll be there straight. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay, Miss Santini.
can we request that be set for a hearing instead of a status?
Yes, Mr. Rodriguez, that's the request, is that it actually be set for a hearing. Do you have any comments on that request from the state?
I can't say it's not fair, Your Honor, and as long as you provide the proof and everything that we need, I don't see why that would hurt my client.
I agree. Okay, so 2/23, 10 o'clock, Madam Clerk, for a hearing. You want to read what you have? Do you think you have it, or do you?
We, in our system, we had southfloridalaw@gmail.com.
southfloridalaw@gmail.com. All right. Counsel, what email address do you prefer the clerk to use?
Your Honor, I received both. I have switched over to another one, but that is a kind of a service email that I do receive. It is South Florida Laws with an S. I'm not sure if that was on there.
South Florida Law with a what?
With an S, like South Florida Laws, I think.
Plural.
And what was the other email, just so we can add that as well? Was it piero@aclegalgroup.com?
Yep, that is my primary email.
Okay, so 2/23, 10 o'clock. Thank you, Mr. Razzo. Once you sign your notice, you're free to go. Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Okay, bye. Madam Clerk, you good? All right, Mr. Casassa, you have Ronald Forbes, 18 CT 1137. Good morning.
Judge, you may remember we had asked, the court asked Mr. Forbes to present today. He is present. The one outstanding condition, Judge, is the UI school and the evaluation that goes there with. He has now signed up for UI school. Looks like he's scheduled to attend classes by Zoom on February 6th at 8. I think the finances have always been the issue in this case as far as being able to pay for school. I will tell the court that in the past, while this case was pending, Mr. Forbes voluntarily entered and successfully completed a residential treatment program, so he has been working on the treatment issue. He just hasn't formally finished the school. Since he just signed up, Judge, I'd ask the court to allow him to do the school. He's going to need to do it. We want him to complete all terms and conditions, and he has to come down in Georgia before he did that. He came down from Georgia in order to make this.
All right, so your request is a continuance to another status docket?
You've been very patient, Judge, and I appreciate that.
All right, Mr. Hendricks, what can you tell me about this?
Yeah, just the background on this case. It's the second VOP on this case. This is the 10th VOP court date for this VOP. Again, still not done with the UI school. I think it's like the third time we set this for a hearing. With the new information Attorney Casassa provided, I did verify that he signed up yesterday with our local DUI school. And we run Zoom, been instructed before, and it will not be completed. Looks like February 8th, I believe, is that completion date if he attends.
Does it also have the start date?
It says he's got a substance abuse evaluation February 1st, which is standard requirement for DUI school, and he's got the 2 days of classes via Zoom, February 6th and February 8th.
Judge, if I might remind the court, he did do school, the Southwest Florida Safety Council School.
Okay.
He thought he could save some money doing another school, and that was
But he signed up for the right school now.
Yes.
Okay, and it happens between February 1st and February the 8th. If he participates and he's successful, then he'll be done on 2/8, right? And at that point,
He's done with the school, Judge. They still have to evaluate him, see if he's counseling, but I think when they
Right.
find out he's done residential, they'll probably.
right, it may extend beyond that. But Mr. Hendricks, otherwise, are all of the other terms and conditions complete?
Yes, the substance abuse counseling wasn't an issue on the affidavit, so we were just
Okay.
waiting. So the affidavit just had these fines paid a while ago in the DUI school.
All right, Ms. Santini states, sorry, I'm sorry, Mr. Hendricks, go ahead.
Even if he's referred to counseling again, like Mr. Casassa said, has the residential and he didn't violate that condition.
So it sounds like he could be done on 2/8. All right, Ms. Santini, what's the state's position on Mr. Casassa's request?
We were just asked for the next date to be set for a hearing.
Is that what we're set for today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Casassa, any objection to that? Shouldn't,
Sorry, Judge, I didn't hear that.
her request is that we set it for a hearing on the next date.
That's fine,
Shouldn't matter if he's done.
that's fine. If he's done, does he need to be?
Well, that depends. If he's done, what does the state plan to do? Ms. Santini? That doesn't mean the VOP has gone away. Ms. Santini, what will the state's position be if he's done?
The offer right now is time served and remote probation.
So there would still be an offer and an admission. It would be an adjudication, cost of prosecution, time served, probation is revoked.
Judge, if I can ask, I don't know if she had heard that he came down from Georgia.
He came down from Georgia, okay? But he would still have an open case.
Yes, Judge, if you need to set it for hearings, then that's our alternative.
Well, and he would have to enter, and then at that point, if he's done, I think that offer is based on the assumption that he successfully completes the DUI school. And then if he's done, that's the offer. Time served, no additional jail time, probation is revoked. He would have $50 cost of prosecution with 90 days to pay. So then it's really up to you two. If he wants to accept that offer, then he can enter an admission. If you want to do a plea in absentia, I would accept a plea in absentia on an admission.
That's great.
Or if he wants a hearing, he's still entitled to a hearing. In that case, he would have to be present.
It's going to be a change of the judge, just whether or not he can make sense or not. So
I don't have any problem with that. Ms. Santini, any objection to a plea in absentia? If they choose to do that?
No objection, Your Honor. Sorry, I was on mute.
All right, that's okay. Mr. Forbes, your next court date is 2/23, February 23rd at 10 o'clock for a hearing, which means you should be completely done with that DUI school by February the 8th, okay? And once you finish that, Mr. Casassa knows that your offer is an adjudication, $50 court costs, time served, so no additional jail time, your probation will be revoked. But that's just an offer from the prosecutor. You don't have to accept that if you don't want to. If you choose to accept that, you can do so in your absence. You can do that from Georgia, but you have to fill out some paperwork well in advance. So it's in my file by February 23rd, which means you need to stay in touch with your lawyer. If you choose not to accept that offer, then I need to see you on 2/23 at 10 o'clock and we'll have a hearing.
and you have to do the school, you have to provide proof of the school information. Okay? Yes. Good.
All right, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. All right, Ms. Hall, what is the status with Devin Findley, 19 CT 218?
He was currently currently at the door.
Oh,
You guys making the day of 23, 21, and 28.
oh, very good, thank you. So, Ms. Santini, just in case you didn't hear that, the next case is Devin Findley with Ms. Hall, case number 19 CT 218, and he was turned away at the door based on the COVID questions and given a date of February 23rd at 10 o'clock for a status. Okay, so nothing else to do on Mr. Findley today. Mr. Hendricks,
Was set for a hearing.
set for a hearing, okay. Ms. Santini?
Yes, Your Honor. We would just ask for the next date to be set for a hearing.
I just don't know if that's what the notice said at the door. Rich, would you have any way of knowing that? Ms. Hall, how about you? Do you have any?
So yes.
Well, but we have some status and some hearings at the 10 o'clock position.
I'm okay with it being a hearing, Your Honor. I can call him and let him know. He knows it needs to be here in person, so,
Okay,
I can let him know that it's a hearing.
All right, very good. Thank you. So, Madam Clerk, we will set Finley for a hearing at 10 o'clock.
This is something on record.
Sure.
I think this is the third time set for a hearing. It's like a 10 POV court date. Still waiting for that. Any additional members on. I believe he wasn't present the last 3 court dates he hasn't been.
He hasn't been here, and you haven't shown any progress?
Since the last progress, I believe, was October, where he paid off his community service. There has been substantial progress at the beginning of this.
Okay.
I don't want to mislead, but the thing we're waiting on now is the completion of counseling. And I don't have any updates on that. The only thing left is a couple of favorable sports also.
So the restitution has been paid?
Paid probation fees, fines and court costs, victim impact panel, paid all the hours, done his UI school, legal comments and the rest, it's just counseling and paid in court.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Hall.
What I understand, there only has 3 classes left for this substance counseling. I spoke to him today. He said that something happened with his other thing. I'm not exactly sure, to be honest with you. Just wanted to check before.
So he told you that he's got 3 classes left.
Yes, Your Honor.
And so he suggested to you that he has completed some classes.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Hendricks, do you have proof of complete? Would you get proof as the classes go by, or just at the very end? Like if,
Certain agencies will send us a progress report.
okay.
About 3 or 4 times. Some are really good about it, some just the beginning and the end.
How about this in this case?
I don't even have a record of where he's going, so I haven't had anything that he's told or that was our big issue.
Okay. Ms. Hall, did he tell you when he believes he will be done with those 3 remaining classes?
I'm not sure, but I think they're supposed to be monthly.
So he should be done easily by 2/23.
Yes, Your Honor.
Madam Clerk, no further continuances. We're going to have a hearing or an admission, but we're going to resolve this case one way or the other on 2/23. Ms. Santini, did you hear that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Our last case on the docket is John Finnerty, case number 18CT 2426, and he's coming forward. Sir, do you swear to tell, put your right hand up. Put up your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what is your name?
Yeah, we try not to lie, but
What is your name?
I'm making a little one anyway. I took care of the car and followed.
Okay.
The restitution, he came in here to pay, and they said they got to send a lawyer or whatever. Anyway, that's what it done. And the other thing, right here for Danny quarterback.
Hand that to Mr. Hendricks, please.
Yeah, for Danny quarterback.
He's got a note that he says is from Mr. Hornbeck.
My probation officer said to go in there to the school, tell them that, take the next level DUI, okay? Because I haven't been able to get that Texas license number.
I know you told me that last time. Okay, let me ask him a question, okay? Mr. Hendricks, what can you tell me about this case?
This looks like a note to himself, not what Danny told him.
Okay,
It was really not a note from me, but.
okay.
Clarify. Yeah, I have no progress made since the last court date came. I believe we're here for the 4th time. This infinity, I do see like he's trying to address the vehicle impoundment order. He has an affidavit, an impoundment affidavit that he'll turn into Danny today.
Indicating that it's complete?
I believe that we'll have to do some vehicle search, and then we'll then give it to our supervisor, try to waive it in-house.
Oh, I see, okay,
It looks like he started the progress for that.
okay.
He's turned that in, I don't know. As far as the DUI school goes, I did speak to Danny briefly about this. He's he's got prior DUIs in Texas. So no matter what they're gonna find, there's only 2 levels of DUI school in Florida. So if you have a first conviction, you do level 1. If there's a second or more, even arrest sometimes or reduction, you'll have to do level 2, no matter if it's the second DUI or one out of the DUIs. So I think that was the guidance Danny gave us, telling him we'll do level 2. You know, 'cause it sounds like they're waiting for, if I'm correct, is Texas driver's license information. So usually what that does is tell them he has to do level 1 or 2. He's gonna have to do level 2 regardless.
All right, so we don't need to wait. I understand that. We don't need to wait from Texas. What about the monetary fines, costs, and restitution?
Yeah, all outstanding still.
50, and community service?
All outstanding.
Okay. Ms. Santini, anything from you?
Yes, Your Honor. Based on the last court date, it sounded like the defendant had confusion about the outstanding conditions, and so Mr. Verderamo represented him on the underlying charge, and so maybe the defendant should reach out to him or apply for a PD to get this case resolved.
Okay, well, that'll be up to him. But let me ask him some questions. Mr. Finnerty, you keep telling me about your driver's license in Texas. I know you're waiting to hear from Texas.
Yes.
You don't have to wait for Texas. You just need to sign up for DUI school level 2 here in Florida. You don't have to wait for Texas.
No, I don't have to go there. But there's a school here. Airport. They wanted the old Texas driver's license. My number, I can never get it. I left messages, they don't call. So Danny Hornbeck said, I'm gonna do it today. Try and go to the school and tell them that I'll take the next level, you know, without having to get my old Texas driver's license. Like 20 years ago.
Okay, have you told them that yet?
I haven't gone back to the school. I paid them one time last year, and I gotta pay them again.
You just need to tell the school that you want to sign up for level 2.
Yes.
You don't need to wait for your Texas driver's license.
I can do that without having a Texas driver's license?
Mr. Hendricks, I don't see why the school, I don't see why the school would require it if he's voluntarily signing up for level 2.
Right. It could be they say something different, I don't know, but my recommendation is to tell them that, reach out to them also.
Okay, what about restitution? You owe $450 in restitution. How much have you paid?
The school?
No, restitution.
Okay, I just came in to pay it. Can't pay like check or cash. Danny, I just saw, and he says, send them money order to here. So I'll do that today. I get a money order. I thought I could pay.
You tried to pay, you can't pay with check or cash. And they want a money order, right?
I could have done that today. It says I gotta have a money order.
And where are you going to send the money order? Who do you send it to?
Danny.
Is that what he told you?
He'll take care of it.
Okay. And how about your fine and court costs? You owe $2,000 for your fine and costs. Have you paid any?
I haven't paid any of that yet. I put out $2,500 for probation and ankle monitoring this last year, and with the son, the restaurant, he has to work a lot. He's handicapped.
Okay, so you haven't paid any of that. How about community service? Have you done any community service?
I'm sorry?
Have you done any community service?
No, I had forgotten all about that.
You can't forget.
Yeah.
You understand that this is serious. Ms. Santini, what's the state's offer in this case? Right, and I think what might help that is if he understands the potential consequences. So if you were to formulate an offer, what would it be?
He
Mr. Finnerty, do you understand that the prosecutor right now is asking for 30 days in jail? Do you understand that?
No, I didn't know that.
Okay, I want you to know that so you understand how important this is.
Yes.
You can't just forget about community service hours. You can't forget about these things, because if you continue to come to court and tell me you've made no progress, then I'm telling you right now, eventually I'm not going to give you any more time. And then you may end up going to jail. It's important for you to understand how serious this is. Do you understand that? Did you have Mr. Verderamo help you with this DUI? Did Mr. Verderamo help you with the DUI?
Yes, Derek.
Derek, help.
My lawyer, I can't afford a lawyer right now.
Well, what, do you want a public defender?
Yeah, I can always do that.
Well, if you had a public defender, you wouldn't forget anything, and that might help you. Do you want to apply for a public defender?
Yes.
Here's what I want you to do, Mr. Finnerty.
See, I still need help getting that Texas driver's license. Can the court maybe make a note where I can?
No, I'm not going to write a note to Texas. Okay, here's what I want you to do. We're on the first floor right now. We're on the first floor of the courthouse. I want you to walk out of here and go apply for the public defender. Go with John, and he's going to bring you right back. Okay, I'll see you in about 10 minutes, okay? Thank you, John. All right, he's going to apply for the public defender. Ms. Finnerty, that was a good suggestion. And that's our last pending case. So we're going to be in recess until he comes back. Yeah, I do want to go to my office. I'm not going to sit here. All right, so we're in recess. Ms. Santini, I'll call you back. And they're going to, all right, bye. Hello, Ms. Santini. We are back in session. Our last case on our 10 o'clock docket is John Finnerty, 18 CT 2426. I'm reviewing the file. Ms. Santini, he did apply for the public defender, and it says not indigent. All right, sir, it says you're not eligible for a public defender. So are you going to continue to rep? I'm still here. Okay, Mr. Finnerty, you do not qualify for a public defender. Is that what they told you? That you do not qualify for a public defender?
Oh my God, Social Security coming in.
Okay. He was sworn in when he was here. I swore him in. All right. Sir, do you want me to review your financial situation to determine if you're eligible for a public defender?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you say you only have Social Security coming in?
That's it.
How much do you have coming in?
$2,250.
$2,250 every month.
$2,250 a month.
Okay.
Paid a lot of taxes, so
All right, but that's what you take home, $2,200 a month.
$2,250 a month. That's it.
Do you have any other source of income?
No, not at all.
Do you have any savings?
Wife died, there ain't no help there. The son, you know.
Okay, do you have any savings accounts? Bank accounts? Stock?
All gone.
It's all gone. How about stocks or bonds?
I'm sorry?
Do you own any stocks?
No.
Any investments
I
at
had,
all?
you know, but it's just gone.
So you don't have anything else, just the $2,200 a month?
The rent is $1,500 out of the $2,260 a month.
Your rent is $1,500 every month out of your $2,250.
$1,500 rent.
Okay. All right. I find that you are indigent, and I will appoint a public defender to represent you. Okay. So your public defender is your lawyer, and she will help you on this case. And her name is Miss Hall. All right. Miss Santini, anything from you?
No, Your Honor.
So, Madam Clerk, we will continue this to, February 23rd at 10 o'clock for a status. You need to do two things before your next court date. Number one, go upstairs and see your lawyer. Okay, when you leave here today, do we know what floor they're on?
Yes, now, the fifth floor.
Fifth floor. When
To
you,
see who?
Miss Hall,
I'm sorry. Miss Hall.
Miss Hall is your lawyer.
Oh, okay.
All right, on the fifth floor.
Okay.
So go up,
Gotcha.
leave here and go up to the fifth floor.
All right.
All right, and then when you're done there, I want you to come down and go to probation and check in with probation. Mr. Hendricks, is there any chance he can meet with Mr. Hornbeck, or does that have to be by appointment?
No, we can check right now, he's here, so he's there. He's met before, I don't know the other one needs to.
Okay. So I also want you to talk with Mr. Hornbeck before you leave the courthouse and do what he tells you to do. Okay?
I'll go to the fifth floor first, and then just the Hornbeck.
Yes, sir. All right, good luck. Thank you. That's it. All right, and I believe that completes our docket for the day. Anything further to come before the court?
He's got to sign now.
No, Your Honor.
All right, we're adjourned. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Judge,